Hello everyone, it's Dr. Allen. Hope you're having a great start to the semester. This is I don't know why I'm holding up a one, but I'm going to do it again. This is the first, that's why I was holding up the one, of our reviews that you have to complete related to blogs. What I mean by all that mumbo jumbo is I'm going to show you two resources that I actually used in the class a good bit. I taught middle school for a long time, used both. I could see the one really being beneficial in high school though, especially if you're going to do AP classes. So I thought for our first one, I would just share these two resources and kind of go from there. Your requirements for this, since this is the first one, is just say whether you would use these two, if you could see yourself using these two. Is there any benefits? Do you think they're trash? It's not going to offend me either way. It was just something that I used that I thought I would share. I will post these up on the Sakai site. They're actually already up there, but they're kind of lost in resources, so I'm going to repost them so you have access to them. Your blog only needs to be 3, 4, 5 sentences. It can be more, obviously, if you want it to be, but you would just put that up on Sakai. So instead of me just sitting here babbling, let me show you actually what I used. So here we go. Let's share the screen. And the first one I'm going to show you is pretty straightforward, and these videos are going to actually be pretty short, but this is a site called PowerPoint Palooza. One thing that social studies teachers, and I guess history teachers in general, like are PowerPoints. Now, there are other ways, and in tech, we'll get into this, or you've already gotten into it. There are ways to kind of jazz up your PowerPoints now with like Nearpod, Pear Deck, things like that, inserting QR codes. Stuff that you can get formative instant assessment. But with all that being said, PowerPoint Palooza is fantastic. If you look down here, these are all PowerPoints that are made in different areas of history. Specifically, this lady who created it, she's up in New York. She does not mind if you use these PowerPoints. She just asks that you give her proper dues or citations when you do use them. It's, she teaches AP History, AP Europe, Global Studies, and actually people have started to put their own up here, and some of them are very good. I will be the first to admit I think hers are much better than the ones I've seen or used before in the past that are down here, but that's not to knock them. It's just I think hers are really high quality. You can go through here and you're welcome to check and see what's all, if there's anything that interests you, but just to kind of show you what the PowerPoints look like. This is the 100 Years' War, and they are well done. How I would use them sometimes, I even used a few of the AP ones when I was teaching, 7th grade ancient history and such. I would just take out the slides that I didn't think applied or were a little bit too above what a middle school class would be. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this really breaks down a lot of the 100 Years' War. So it's something that you could potentially use if you need a resource to find PowerPoints, because sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done a Google search on PowerPoints for certain historical topics. Some of them are trash, some of them are not. These are not trash. They're pretty well done. And again, you can add stuff and alter them a little bit, but just please make sure you give her due if you do ever use them. The other site that I wanted to show you is not that one, excuse me. It is, sorry, my thing's a little bit, there it is. It's called the Living Room Candidate. I think this is a very, very, very neat site. It has every endorsed political ad that's run since from 1952 up until 2016. And actually, I'd imagine they're going to get ready and add the 2020 ones up. It gets into different things that, it gives the history of each candidate, the results, the electoral map, which I think is always an awesome lesson that you can do with students. It's always one of the more complicated but kind of interesting, kind of awesome debate type things that you can do. But just to kind of show you, I always like this one. So here's one it was run by Hubert Humphrey, and it was against actually Spiro Agnew, who was the vice president that was running with Richard Nixon, or a candidate for vice president that was running for Richard Nixon. So you just hit play, click on it. It tells you about the ad. And that's the ad. One thing I used to do with these, my middle schoolers, especially when we would talk about elections, love these. I would just have them, what do you think the message was? What do you think is going to come out of it? Do you think it was effective? There's a ton of them on here. Actually, we would even look at how ads were like more like friendly in the 50s. They didn't really attack so much. Here's Dwight D. Eisenhower.
I'm for president, I'm for president, I'm for president, I'm for president. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president.
So I think you can tell it was very radio oriented in the 50s still, because not everyone had a television. And of course, one thing I used to always, every time, show my students was probably the most famous, I still think it's the most famous political ad, is this one. It's the Daisy ad. They aired it once. There's the history right there.
'These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark. We must either love each other, or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
There you go. We would talk about that ad, but obviously one of the more popular. I could sit here and watch these ads all day, but just to kind of give you a little more on the resources. There's teacher spot, there's downloads, there's lessons on this one. So this is the living room candidate. So I would check it out. I'll put the link up. And again, your assignment for it is just to kind of say, could you see yourself using either one of these in the classroom PowerPoint Palooza or the living room candidate? Again, if you don't, that's no problem. And obviously you would have to be teaching these contents that would align to it. So I thought these were two pretty straightforward ones to start with. And there's PowerPoint Palooza. The link will be up, and the living room candidate. So those are two. Just do your blogs, and that should be all you have to do. So hope you're having a good week. Talk to you later.